So I had noticed that my YouTube channel gets views and gets subscribers, and like more people are viewing, even though I haven't posted a video in months. So maybe some people like what I have to say. So I guess I'll post on it more. Um, I actually post YouTube videos for myself that I keep private, and I just like give myself advice and tips, and it's kind of like journaling, and it's been chill doing that. Um, but it's interesting. People are viewing my videos, and I'm getting subscribers and all that. So I don't even really want to do this, but I don't know. Like it probably helps people, even if like a couple people watch and a couple people like watching, listening to what I have to say. I think it's a cool thing. So I'll get through this video the best I can. My name is Rafif. I am 28 years old. Um, what a lot of people know me for is lifting. So I've been lifting since I was 18 years old. I've lifted 500 pounds deadlift, um, 500 pounds deadlift weighing under 150 pounds. You could see my videos of my lifts on Instagram too. The strongest, TheStronGest_EVER, the strongest ever. Like gay ass name, but that's that's on Instagram, so you can see my lifts there. And I have like history with other fields, so like, but I've been a competitive powerlifter. I've powerlifted for a bunch of years. I've lifted for 10 years since I was 18 years old. Had that deadlift 500 pounds. I've squatted 365 pounds, weighing same like under 150 pounds, and I've benched 225 pounds, and I've been pretty strong. These are decent numbers. They're not best in the world. They're like okay, like all right numbers, but there's a lot of people that are stronger than that. What else have I done? I have like a sales and advertising background, so like I work in Facebook advertising. I do online advertising, and have like a sales and advertising background. I know some things about business. Um, so that's kind of my background. And I know different things about sales. I also have, which I don't talk about very much, and I don't like publicly like to talk about that much, but I have like a pickup background, so like pickup artists and stuff. I've dated a fair bit, so I know a thing or two about all that. Like I have like a history kind of in that, or I've studied that, and there's been like like dating experience and stuff. And then what else have I done? I've worked as a personal trainer for a bunch of years. In the past, I played Super Smash Bros. Melee at like a really high level. I haven't competed in that yet though, but I can. And then I played chess at a decent level. I've been a musician, like a jazz musician, and I have traveled for that a little bit, and then I was more into music in my teens. I played jazz trombone. I have, what else? I've done well as a crypto trader during the bull run, so I've traded crypto, I've traded stocks. I've done a bunch of things, I guess, in my 20s. Um, what else? I do boxing, I do fighting, and I do some Olympic lifting. There's other stuff, but yeah. So I guess that's kind of like on who I am, and what I've been up to lately. I've been more focused on business and sales, making money for the most part. But everything you learn in one field kind of ties into another field. Um, I thought I'd make more videos on this channel just because this channel is getting views. I don't know from where, because I'm not promoting these videos or anything. I just like had made videos in the past. Um, and I guess if it helps people out, it's good, because I'll make a lot of YouTube videos, but more for myself. And working in sales and advertising is cool. Business is cool. Other fields kind of suck in a lot of ways. So I guess this video is going to be what I would tell myself at 18 years old, what advice I would give, and I think this can help other people that are 18 years old. That was some background on me. If you're 18 years old, I had watched, I like Andrew Tate. I'd watched some of his videos. I had been watching his videos from before he started blowing up. I'd say like maybe 2 years, like a year and a half ago. It's been a while. And something he says that I really agree with is like, okay, breaking free from the matrix. So like if I was like giving advice to my 18-year-old self, I would say, yeah, you want to find ways to break free of the matrix. It's not super easy. I think it's actually pretty hard. I also think people are good at different things, but like the matrix being 9 to 5 world, school world, like the traditional world, like it's a system, and you're a slave, right? Like all those things that he says, if you watch any Andrew Tate videos, I think it's true, is that we're paid like a livable wage just so that you can have a comfortable life, quote unquote. But it's pretty much legalized slavery. You know, it's the same thing. Slaves are giving just enough money so that they can have a place to stay, have a couple kids, they can work their whole day, and then they can go home and they can have like a tiny bit of money saved up, and that's it. The beauty of today in the modern day is that we have internet access. We have access to all the people of the world. I don't know how the fuck people like lived before pre-internet, but yeah, we have access to all these people, all these things, and you can make money, and you can pretty much you can use different forms of leverage, and information is at our disposal, is at our hands. You know, there's more people now than ever making money from the gig economy, from other ventures. You know, now even your parents and people that are super traditional, they don't think that the only way to make money is through 9 to 5 and getting a job as an engineer or a doctor or another field. um, so they'll there's all kinds of ways to make money, right? And I would think that, like, yeah, advice to an 18-year-old self would be to find ways to break out of the matrix. But honestly, the big advice that I would give myself that's related to this is that uh, and this is kind of what I would tell myself, honestly, going back to 18 years old, is that like everything that your parents kind of said and everything that society kind of said is like really bullshit. So like my experience had been is that um when I was like 18, I was trying to figure out that, okay, like my entire life I was in school for 6 or 7 years. So I went to Cal Poly Pomona. I had an civil engineering degree, which I dropped out of, I think, like my third or fourth year, and then I switched to sociology, which like I had wanted to switch to psychology, and then I ended up switching to sociology because psychology was impacted. So that was a good experience actually, and I ended up graduating because at that time I wrote to a mentor and I was like, I want to like drop out. I'd been reading a lot of stuff and I was like, oh, okay, I want to drop out and start a business or do something else. And I didn't really know like a lot about that, and I would have struggled massively if I'd done that. It just wasn't the right decision at the time, because instead I ended up switching to sociology, becoming a personal trainer at that time while doing school, and like I learned a lot of things while doing that. My parents kind of helped me with my bills at the time, and then like, yeah, I just didn't tell my parents that I switched majors for like a while, which it sounds like it was the right decision at the time, because if I stayed in engineering I wouldn't have survived. um, what's a tangent? Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, so like the reason I bring this up is that like my entire life, like I had done school and always thought like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like it really seemed like bullshit, and it seemed like something that I shouldn't be doing, and that I didn't understand why people did it. um, I always thought school was kind of like a waste of time, and it felt like they're giving you bitch work, they're giving you busy work to do, right? And it's like, why am I doing this? And I felt like I wasn't learning anything, and like I never fit into school. Like I was always relatively intelligent when I was like younger. I was like a gifted child. In my earlier years, I was like in the GATE program, gifted and talented education. I did decent in school, and then once I went through like puberty, like 6th grade, 7th grade, then I started to do worse in school. But like I would just be lazy and get like B's and C's, and like not really care about getting A's. I was like, okay, what's the point of this? Like, why push myself? There were like not some kids that got A's. um, I just never really saw like the point to school, and I was like, okay, I always wanted to do my own business or make money, and like school like never really was the path. And I always thought that I'd get older and like I'd learn why school is important, or I'd get older and I'd learn like why 9 to 5 is important. And but what I learned is that like, yeah, traditional 9 to 5 sucks, and it's kind of bullshit, and like school is generally kind of bullshit, and it's kind of a big scheme to get money out of people. You know, you owe debt to a system, and then they tax you, and then you owe more debt, and you're not even guaranteed a job. And if you do get a job, you're not paid enough. Like I was like, okay, I want to make 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, because like entrepreneurs are making that. Oh, you only make this much as an engineer. I was like, okay, why the fuck would I want to be an engineer or be anything else versus struggling at business and at some point figuring it out and making that kind of money, you know? But the advice I would give myself honestly is that school is bullshit, 9 to 5 is bullshit, and if I could have started earlier, I would have started a lot earlier in sales, because I learned that everyone that has made money is in business typically. Um, there's so much that I've learned about a whole lot of things actually over the years. Um, if you want to make business, if you want to make money, so I learned this from Andrew Tate too. I actually learned a lot of things from Andrew Tate. Another thing is that like people that make money in business, like how do you make a lot of money? The only way you really make a lot of money is you convince it out of the hands of other people. Like if you're paid $40 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, even like like you're paid good money, but you have to work for that and you have to work full time for that. So I don't think being a business owner is for everyone. I don't think doing sales or marketing is for everyone. I think a lot of people could do the traditional route, but if I was for myself, I would say of course to do sales and marketing, do business, go the traditional route, because or don't go the traditional, like just school and 9 to 5 and all that was kind of bullshit. And that if you can sell, if you can market, that's like the best thing. If you can do business, that's the best thing, or learn that, because there's good money in that. And if it's kind of my natural strengths and talents, I don't think people should do regular school and regular 9 to 5 unless that's something they really want to do and they don't want to do anything else, you know? And I have friends like that. My sister's like that. My dad's like that. I know other people like that. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. You can, if it's what fulfills you, you can do that. I know girls that are nurses, girls that are engineers. I know guys that are engineers, people that went and did law or did other fields, and they're very happy doing that, and they're happy having a career making 100K a year or 200K a year or whatever, and going that traditional path, getting the master's degree, getting the PhD, and working a regular job. They're happy with that. But I think they shouldn't do it unless there's like, it's like they want to do that and do nothing else. I've done engineering school. It's hard as shit. I thought it was extremely hard, and I didn't get through it, you know. And other people do get through it. And same if people do med school, do other fields, it's hard. Comparatively, an arts degree like sociology or English major or psychology or other stuff is like extremely, like stupidly retardedly easy, you know. It's very, very, very easy. Okay, yeah, so I keep going off on tangents. But my main advice would be, yeah, to go your own path, and to learn sales, learn business, learn marketing. If I went and I was 18 years old, I would have learned sales, and I would have tried to learn to sell really well, you know, and I would have gotten some kind of sales job, and done that part-time or full-time. My parents were kind of paying for school, so I could have kept doing that, but school is a big waste of time. And if you, the people say like, oh, drop out and do your own business, you have to be really self-disciplined to do it. You have to really be self-motivated to do it. I don't think it's easy. I mean, like, I struggled a lot with it, but I would say just if you're 18 years old, learn more about sales, about marketing, about business. The reason I say that is because those are positions where you can have leverage. So you can leverage, look up Naval Ravikant, Naval, last name Ravikant, where he talks about leverage. You can leverage people, so other people. You can leverage systems, you can leverage money, and wealth is made through taking risks, through self-sacrifice, and through leverage, you know. So it's made through leveraging money, made through leveraging other people. Sales, business, marketing allows you to do that. I had done engineering school a bunch of years and I dropped out. I learned like engineering and like traditional 9 to 5, you don't get to use leverage that much, and you kind of don't. So you're paid a wage, you're paid as a wage worker, and even if you make more money, you're still paid a wage worker's salary. Like you're paid for your hours and you don't get to use that much leverage. Even if you find all the leverage ways to do things, you'll still have to work that 40 hours a week. It's not this in engineering. I can come up with smart ways, clever ways to do things. Oh, you can cheat here, you can do whatever, you can find smarter ways to do things. You'll still have to do all the bitch work, all the 40 hours, 60 hours of work, to get through and do all that. Like, oh, you have all this homework and you have to do all of it. So it's not you can't really cut corners. In business, in sales and marketing, you can use leverage. You can have a skill. You can be better at talking. Salesmen, if they're really good high-ticket salesmen, they can work 10 hours a week and make more than an engineer does, a doctor does. A businessman, if they're really good at leverage, they can get a team, have the team doing a lot of the work, and they can manage it up top and like work 10, 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week. There are going to be really hard times, and I'm not saying you won't have to work hard, but that's like the best life that you can live is one of leverage. I would say this too. There's I guess in the dating realm too, a lot of guys get monogamously like married and attached. But if you don't do that, and if you can have kind of something open where you're dating and maybe you're dating a couple chicks at the same time, for guys that have done that, I think that's to your advantage, because it's another leverage thing that, like, if you're not tied down by a relationship, by a job, by your parents, by traditions and stuff, then you can live a good life. You can live a happy life. I think the big advice I would tell myself at 18, and I kind of always suspected this, but I really came to know it the older I got, is that society doesn't benefit you as the individual. Society is designed to benefit the collective as a larger population. So that means, like, the shit that society tells you to do, to get married, it's not a good idea. Like, you can get married, but you want to look into divorce law. You want to look into getting a prenup. You want to maybe do it in other countries, like not even do it in the US, get it from a different country, and get a prenup and other things. Like everything society suggests to you, oh, just go and buy a house. Buying a house isn't the best thing that you can do financially necessarily. Starting a business, if you study business for a bunch of years and you figure it out, that's potentially better. Learn to cash flow something, cash flow an asset, cash flow a side project, cash flow a sales job. If you can cash flow something, that's preferable to, oh, okay, just working a regular job, saving up money, getting a mortgage, getting a house, getting a traditional 9-to-5, all of these things. There's so many other alternatives. One, there's so many other alternatives and better things that you can do. And two, that type of life worked well in like the 1950s when cost of everything were low. Like, you can be a teacher and you can have like 4 or 5 kids, 6 kids. Like, you can afford a house, you can afford all these things, you can have a way better quality of life. Back then, college wasn't as expensive, houses weren't as expensive, living wasn't as expensive. Now everything is like super butt fucking expensive, right? And now to be able to make it, if you want to live in the US, I live in freaking California, where you're paid, where you're taxed at the federal level, at the state level. It's extremely expensive and kind of stupid living in California. But if you want to make a living in California, you usually need the other partner. You need like a husband's income and a wife's income, and then together they make maybe 10K a month together, if that. Usually I think that average household income is like 67K a month, 67K a year. Average American makes, I think, like 30 or 40K, maybe 35K like a year or something like that, 40K. It's not very good, right? So my advice would be, find ways to break out of the matrix and make more money. Do unconventional things, take risks, work very hard, but work smart too, and work hard in the right things. Because if you go to the traditional path and you work extremely hard at a regular 9-to-5, at regular school, at a regular job, at a regular traditional job, if you work your very, very hardest and you work very smart too at those things, you're still competing with everyone, and you're competing with a ton of people. And at the pinnacle of all that, you get an engineering job, you get a doctor job, you make 100K, 200K a year or like something. Versus if you take the risk and you fail at business and other things, you can make a lot more money. You can be a high ticket salesman, I don't think they have to work as hard as a doctor does or as an engineering does. As an engineer does, a high ticket salesman doesn't, or like a small business owner doesn't. Once the business is built, it doesn't need to be that hard. It can be very hard building it, but if you do it with a team, you use the leverage of other people, of systems, of money, of talent. You learn advertising, you learn sales, you learn business, you learn solving problems. You can make a lot more money and not have to work as hard. And I'm not saying it's hard, it's extremely hard, because if more people could do it, then they would. And it's counterintuitive. There's lateral thinking. There's a bunch of things. You might fail at it for a long time, but I just think you get a better life than you do the traditional path. And like thus far, like 28 years, I've had a better life, I would say, than I've seen with my sister, than with other people that went the traditional route, like that have worked 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, that have worked insanely hard at engineering school, at PhD, at other things. I have no disrespect towards them at all. I like respect them extremely highly. I respect the hustle. I respect the person that's like working a janitor job, or working on the street selling oranges, or working doing whatever, even the beggar that like can convince people to like give him money and like has a smile or a clever sign. Like, I don't know, I respect the hustle. It's not easy to make it. It's very hard to make it. Whatever people do to make money, I respect it to some degree, as long as they're not like hurting people or doing wrong by other people in some ways, but it's extremely hard to make it, and they make it harder and harder to make it. Like, it's more competitive, not less. If you want to live in the US, it's extremely competitive. You can have a good quality of life too in other countries. I've traveled a bunch. I've seen like other countries, you can have a better quality of life. So I would say don't be attached to the US or Western living necessarily. If you can take Western money and go to other countries, you can live like a way better life there too, in Thailand or other third world countries, other second, third world countries. There's better quality of life. There's better food. There's prettier girls. There's a lot better quality of life there, and that's something I'm open to too, is to going to other countries. But I'm here now because I'm building up my sales and marketing experience, and building up my business experience. So my big piece of advice, to myself as 18 years old, and to any 18-year-old out there, I would say is that you're not tied down by traditional paths. I would say school 9 to 5. For myself, I would definitely tell myself this: school 9 to 5 traditional path is bullshit. And if you can take that effort, put it into a sales job, put it into marketing, put it into learning business, you can make a lot of money, and you can make a lot more money than you could those other paths. And it is extremely hard. Like, anything worth doing is extremely hard, but the difference is you can go to the army, you can become a police officer, you can become a doctor, you can become a lawyer, you can make a certain amount of money with working really hard. Or you can take that same working hard, put it into a better vehicle, put it into something that has more leverage other people, other systems, leverage cash, and with that same hard work, you can make 10x or 100x the return, and it's finding the right opportunity. It's finding the right systems and people to leverage the right information and right tools. But it's all out there, and it's a lot easier to do today than it was in the past. Well, like, it's not easier. It is easier in the sense that, like, it's out there. It's more competitive today, and it's hard in a lot of ways, but it's out there. There's so many other ways to do things. I made so much money in crypto, and last year they were giving away free money, PPP loan, the pandemic unemployment, the SBA loans and stuff. That was like pretty much free money because they forgave that. So I got like 20K, 30K. I put that into crypto and got to double it, and learn to trade crypto, and all of that was free money. Like, it was forgiven. I didn't have to pay taxes on it. It was a loan that was forgiven, so you don't have to pay taxes on loans, right? And there's opportunities out there, but how did I learn about that? I learned about that from other people. So, like, leveraging off of other people, off of the information I got from them, off of the knowledge and the wisdom I got from them, or off of their skills. How do businesses operate? They get workers. You have to get people to like you. Get workers, get them working under you, charge, what do you call it, like $20 an hour for pay them $20 an hour, charge $30 an hour or $40 an hour for the services that they're doing, and you be selling that service, and then get them to do the work for cheaper. That's how money is made. That's how United States is built. That's how countries are built. That's how businesses are built. That's what everyone is doing pretty much. Andrew Tate said that it's like everyone's pimping you pretty much, you know, like the universities are doing it. You're getting a job, and all the job is a business, and you're being a wage worker for someone at the top of the business that's making more. Like you're doing that job, you're doing the worker's job, but you can learn the business owner's job, and it's not necessarily that much harder because you're gonna work extremely hard anyway to be an employee, you know. So that's it. And then I guess the last piece of advice for like an 18-year-old is like knowing your strengths and weaknesses, because I think everyone is good at different things. I struggled. Now at 28 years old, I'm okay with sales and marketing, okay with business. I've learned a ton of things. I've always struggled with making money. People are good at different things naturally. So like I would say the big thing is really, again, leveraging other people, leveraging information, learning different things from YouTube, from mentors, from different people, and leveraging cash, leveraging credit, leveraging systems, leveraging opportunities, leveraging other people. What is a lever? You know, Archimedes said that like, oh, if you give give me a lever long enough that I can raise the world. You know, like leverage is it's like a car jack or something that they use to raise a car. You know, it's like you have like a long stick like this, and then you can have like really something heavy at the end of it here, and then with just a little bit of effort you can lift that heavy thing. But if you went to lift a heavy thing by yourself, you wouldn't be able to lift it, you know. So that's what leverage is that's what leverage is that you put in 1 unit of effort and you can get like 100 units out, or 1 unit in and you get 1,000 units out. But if you're doing something that's not leveraged, then you put in 1 unit and you get out 1 unit, or you put in something with a little bit of leverage, put in 1 unit, you get out 5 units, put in 1 unit, you get out 10 units. Anything with the traditional system, with society, with school, with the 9 to 5, all of that is like typically pretty low leverage. You know, what it teaches you to do is be a wage worker, and like at the best you can work hard at like a really hard skill, like being a lawyer, being a doctor. These are really niche skills that are very hard. But they're not really well leveraged necessarily, and like you can put in a ton of effort, do all right at it, and then still not make that much money. That was like the last thing I was gonna say, is that like, yeah, if you're 18 years old, yeah, use leverage. Traditional school 9 to 5, a lot of it is bullshit, and find alternative paths. I'd say watch YouTube videos, talk to people, make friends in business, friends in other fields, get mentors, and get alternative knowledge, and use leverage. And then the last thing is that you as a person are gonna have things you're good at, things you're bad at naturally, and like I would say work really hard at things that you're good at and take advantage of your strengths, and leverage your weaknesses, leverage other people and systems and processes for the things you're not good at. I was always able to get in shape. I had to work very hard at it, but I had a natural inclination towards it. Like I'd been doing push-ups and pull-ups since I was like 12 years old, 13 years old. I'd been doing crunches. I'd been lifting since I was 18 years old. I never had trouble showing up to the gym and working out and like getting in shape, and like it was a struggle putting on muscle, sure, but like of the 3 fields of like dating and relationships and lifting and physical fitness, and then of money and making money and business and stuff, I for sure struggled the most with money and making money in business, and I'm still not like that good at it. The one I'd done the best at and had the easiest time at, quote unquote easiest time, or just was the best naturally at, is lifting, you know. And I think that people have different inclinations and they'll be good at different things. So certain people will be better at, like naturally better at lifting and stuff, or other people would be better at dating, other people will be better at business, and like you just kind of have different things that you're better at naturally. And I would say that the other piece of advice if you're 18 is to leverage what you're good at naturally. Sorry. Because different people are good at different things. I have player friends, guys that are really good with girls, that were naturals, that never had someone teach it to them, never had a mentor, and they just figured it out, and like they were really good, and they were like doing well with girls at like 13 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old. Like they were doing really well with girls, and they could date a ton of girls, and maybe they studied a little bit, but not really. Like they're naturals at it. And then I had friends that were naturals at making money and that were doing really good at it at 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old. And they worked hard too, they worked smart too, but they had some natural inclination towards it and they were doing it. So if you have a natural inclination towards something, I would say work hard at that, and then what you're not good at naturally, leverage other people and systems. Oh, and then I guess the last thing too, if you're 18 years old, I would say set goals. So I started doing this when I was 19, and it always paid off eventually. I mean, the goals that I've been setting the last 1 to 2 years, I've really been struggling with, and I still haven't achieved like different business and financial goals. Maybe I will at some point, but my experience had always been like writing down goals, setting goals for yourself for like a year out, like set like 10 goals for yourself for the year. If you just write it out, it helps. And like I always ended up achieving it, like most part, like I'd say like 80% or more of those goals I ended up achieving, even if they were really wild and crazy and outlandish. Like I ended up achieving it at some point. Like I said, I wanted to lift 500 pounds deadlift, and I wanted to do that in like 2016, and I did it. And like it took like another 3 years maybe, but then I hit it, and then it was the same. I had different goals with like the types of girls that I like wanted to date, or like the relationships that I wanted to have, and like the experiences with chicks that I wanted to have. And I ended up hitting it, but it took years longer. It took like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years longer maybe. I think it was like 3 or 4 years longer to date how I wanted to date, and have like the girls that I wanted to. And like even then it took a long time, but it was doable. Like it got there, like setting the goals is important. So set goals for yourself. I think that helps a lot. Brian Tracy has an exercise where he says if you write down 10 goals and you achieve, like if you threw that piece of paper away, then you'd still end up achieving like 80% of them by the end of the year. Is that true? At this point, I think like maybe not, but like it had been true for me, and I don't think it would be true for every person, but I think writing goals is something that's like zero risk, and like it helps because it gets your subconscious mind onto paper, and then you get to see, oh, okay, these are the goals that I have. If you set goals for yourself, that can be very good. So that would be the 3 pieces of advice I would give to someone that's 18. One is that society is kind of bullshit, and society benefits off you. Everything that's in society is to benefit the collective, not to benefit the individual. If you want to get results as an individual, you have to go against the collective to some extent. You have to go against what society tells you, break rules and stuff. What I would say is that, yeah, traditional school, traditional 9 to 5, going that traditional path is not the best way necessarily. There's a lot of other ways to go, and I would go down some alternative roads and consider them at least. And you shouldn't really go down the traditional path unless there's nothing else you want to do, and that's like the only thing you want to do. If you want to be an engineer and that's all you want to do, if you want to be a doctor and that's all you want to do, then go down that path. And even then, find ways to kind of break out of the matrix, find ways to have a side hustle or something else on the side, and not believe everything you hear and not do everything the traditional path. That's advice 1. Advice 2 is leverage your strengths and talents and like natural abilities, natural inclinations and stuff. I always had like a natural inclination towards the gym, so I kind of did that. I never like really did that well towards dating like naturally, but girls always kind of liked me, and people always kind of liked me, so I kind of tried to leverage that over the years and like take advantage of that. So any natural skills, talents, abilities you have, like go into those, because that's something it's almost God-given. Like you have those things, so you should take advantage of it because other people don't. So natural strengths, talents, abilities you have, take advantage of that. And the things that you don't have, you want to leverage. So you want to leverage off of other people, you want to leverage off of cash, you want to leverage off of systems, you want to leverage off of different processes, off of knowledge that you learn from a mentor, that you read in a book or watching a YouTube video, and you want to leverage off of other people, because that's how anything is built, like a massive building or the pyramids or anything. It's not one person has the idea maybe, but then it's the leverage of thousands of people working together. That's what a company is, so you have to leverage off of other people and other things to make money. That's another piece of advice. The third piece of advice is, I guess, like goal setting. That's really important because that gives you a path of what you're going to do, where you're going to go. if you can set goals, like you'll end up achieving them. And I think it's better because it gives your life direction. um Ray Dalio in his book Principles, if you look that up, he has like, if you Google like Ray Dalio's 5-step process, I think that's pretty accurate. He says like, you have a goal, you set the goal, then you have like struggles, and you have like problems and obstacles, and then you have to overcome those obstacles, and you go through a lot of trials and tribulations, you go through a lot of bullshit, and then if you work hard and you don't give up and you work smart and you find ways to get through it and you use the help of other people and you use leverage, then at some point you achieve your goals, and then you're happy, and then you have to set new goals that are higher or different, and then you'll have a new set of problems, and that's a real thing, you know. So I think goal setting really helps. It gives you your life direction. I think someone that's setting goals is going to be doing better than someone who isn't, and that's something I was doing from 18-19 years old. And I would recommend to people, like, you can set goals that can be very helpful and useful, and do things by your natural strengths and talents, and go the alternative path, you know, because the school is 9 to 5. School is bullshit. 9 to 5 was bullshit. At least in my experience, it wasn't the best, and there were a lot of other things that you could do that were better. So that's advice that I would give to an 18-year-old, that I would give to my 18-year-old self. I don't feel that different from age 18 to now. I just have more learning, more knowledge, more experiences. Yeah, like, I would, at this point in my life, it's like really trying to leverage other people and other things, because I feel like what you're good at and like what you're not good at, like especially for myself, like I have things I'm really good at and things I'm really not good at, and like it's an unfair, like the discrepancy between natural tendencies and what you can be good at and what you can handle, and the things that you're not that good at. It's such a huge gap, you know. It's such a wide divide in my experience, that you really have to leverage other people, other things, to get good at all the things that you're not good at, you know. And then you set the goals to know that what you want and don't want, so you know what you're going towards. That's a big thing, because then you have a direction. Otherwise you have no direction, and you can, if you have no direction, that's what society takes advantage of. Like, we really are slaves, you know. What is college? The traditional 9 to 5, all that traditional path. It's giving direction to people that otherwise do not have direction. It's giving people something to do, because otherwise they'd watch Netflix all day and be on social media all day. Like, it's enslavement of man, so that they go and do something constructive, because otherwise they wouldn't tend to do something constructive, you know. Like, human nature's tendency is towards conserving energy. It's towards sloth and laziness and conserving energy, unless you have to for some primal need, unless you're being hunted or something. So society is gonna have like a path laid out for you, and if you don't set goals for yourself, then you're not gonna have any goals. And then the best thing you can do is get some stupid master's degree or a bachelor's degree or a PhD. I mean, and again, if you want to do that and you don't want to do anything else, that's fine. I think that's great. I have a lot of friends that do it, but I don't think it's for everyone. I don't think it's the best. And all of my friends that have gotten those degrees, they agree too. Like, it's extremely ridiculously hard, and it's a traditional path, and it's not the best way to do things necessarily. And if I told them, like, yeah, I think it's stupid and like I don't like it, I respect them for getting it, but I don't think it's for everyone, they would agree, and they would think that it is a lot of bullshit that they have to go through. It's stupid that they have to go through it, but they go through it, you know. I have very close friends that got their master's, got their PhD and other things. They don't like it particularly, and they're like, yeah, but they suck it up as this is the bullshit that they have to go through to achieve their goal of getting that degree and of getting a good job. And it's fine, and that's how they make it. That's how they survive, is because they're going that traditional path. And there's a path down that way, but I'm just saying, I think it's harder versus going the alternative path. Alternative path is hard, but there's more leverage opportunities, and there's more you can do. It's not the only way to get a degree, get a traditional job, get a 9 to 5. There's a lot of other things that you can do. So that would be my advice to an 18-year-old. It's a long video, but I mean, if anyone's watching this and getting to the end, I guess it's a cool thing. I make these videos for myself. Usually I have a ton of videos that I have private where I only talk to myself, but I guess I'm sharing this with other people. If this helps anyone else out, I would say go for it. Leverage your natural talents and inclinations. Go towards what you're interested in and what you're curious at. Work very hard, work very smart. leverage off of other people, talk to other people, know other people, leverage off of what you learn from other people, off of the knowledge of today, off of the internet and stuff. Don't waste your time on social media. Set goals for yourself and go other paths from the traditional path, because there's a lot of other ways that you can go and there's a lot of things that you could do. So that would be kind of my advice and my thoughts. If you're 18 years old, there's more opportunity today than ever before. It's extremely competitive. It's extremely difficult, but there's a lot of potential too. So that's what I would suggest.